There comes a moment in life when everything begins to shift. You may not see it clearly at first, and you may not understand why things are happening the way they are, but deep inside you can feel it. Something is changing. Something is preparing you for a new direction, a new mindset, and a new level in your life. This is what we call a turning point. A crucial turning point is not always comfortable. In fact, it often begins with confusion, discomfort, and uncertainty. You may start noticing that things around you are no longer the same. People who once felt close may begin to feel distant. Situations that once felt normal may suddenly feel heavy or draining. And you might ask yourself, why is everything changing? But what you don't realize in that moment is that this is not happening to break you. It is happening to reveal things to you. Sometimes, before you can move forward, you must first see clearly what is around you. And that is where this powerful shift begins. When your turning point is approaching, life has a way of opening your eyes. It starts showing you the truth about people, about situations, and even about yourself. Things that you once ignored or overlooked become impossible to miss. You begin to notice who truly supports you and who only appears when it is convenient. You begin to feel the difference between you and energy and negative energy. You begin to understand what brings you peace and what quietly drains you. This awareness can feel overwhelming at first, because once you see the truth, you cannot unsee it. You may realize that some relationships were never as real as you believed. You may notice that certain environments are holding you back instead of helping you grow. You may even recognize habits within yourself that need to change. And while this realization can be painful, it is also powerful. Because clarity is the beginning of transformation. Without clarity, you stay stuck. You continue repeating the same patterns, surrounding yourself with the same energy, and wondering why nothing changes. But once clarity enters your life, everything starts to shift. This is the moment where growth begins. You start questioning what you once accepted without thought. You start setting standards for how you allow others to treat you. You start paying attention to your own actions and decisions. And most importantly, you begin to take control of your life. Another important truth about turning points is that they often come when you least expect them. You don't always get a warning. Sometimes the change happens suddenly. Other times, it builds slowly until one day, you realize that you are no longer the same person you used to be. You think differently, you feel differently, you respond differently, and that is a sign that you are evolving. But growth is not always easy. There will be moments where you feel alone, moments where you question whether you are making the right decisions, moments where it feels like everything is falling apart instead of coming together. But what feels like things are falling apart is often things falling into place. Because sometimes in order for you to step into a better version of your life, certain things must be removed. People who no longer align with your growth. Habits that limit your potential, situations that keep you stuck. And while letting go is never easy, it is necessary, because you cannot carry everything into your next chapter. When your turning point is coming, you are being prepared. Prepared to see clearly, prepared to think differently, prepared to move forward with purpose. And even though it may not make sense right now, everything you are experiencing is shaping you for what is ahead. So if you feel like things are changing, if you feel like your perspective is shifting, if you feel like you are outgrowing certain people or situations, do not be afraid. This is not the end of something. This is the beginning of something greater. As this turning point continues to unfold in your life, you begin to notice something even deeper. It's not just the people around you that start to change, it's how you see everything. Your awareness becomes sharper. Your intuition becomes stronger. Things that once felt normal now feel uncomfortable, and things you once ignored now stand out clearly. This is not a coincidence. When a major shift is approaching, you are being guided to see the truth without distractions. It's like a veil is being lifted from your eyes. You begin to recognize patterns that you didn't notice before. You start to see who genuinely supports you and who only shows up when they need something. You begin to feel the difference between positive energy and hidden negativity. You notice which environments help you grow and which ones slowly drain your motivation. At first, this clarity can feel heavy, because the truth is not always easy to accept. You may realize that some people you trusted are not truly aligned with your growth. You may notice that certain relationships are one-sided. You may even feel a distance forming between you and people you once felt close to, and that distance can feel uncomfortable. But sometimes distance is necessary for growth. Not everyone is meant to go with you to your next level. Some people are part of your past, not your future. And when your turning point is coming, life begins to create separation where it is needed. You may not understand it at first. You may try to hold on to fix things or to go back to how things used to be. But deep down, you will feel that something has changed. And that feeling is guiding you. Because growth requires alignment. You cannot step into a better version of your life while holding on to things that no longer fit that version. Another powerful shift that happens during this time is within yourself. You begin to outgrow old habits. Things that once felt comfortable may no longer feel right. You may lose interest in certain activities, conversations, or environments that once felt normal to you. This is not because something is wrong with you. It is because you are evolving, your mindset is changing, your priorities are shifting, your standards are rising. And as that happens, your actions naturally begin to change as well. You may find yourself wanting more discipline, more focus, more purpose. You begin to think about your future differently. You start asking deeper questions about your life, your direction, and the kind of person you want to become. This is a powerful stage of growth, but it can also feel lonely because not everyone around you will understand this change. Some people may question why you are different. Some may feel uncomfortable with your growth. Some may even try to pull you back into your old habits. And this is where your strength is tested. Will you go back to what is familiar, or will you move forward into what is better? Every turning point comes with a decision to stay the same or to grow. And growth often requires letting go. Letting go of comfort, letting go of old patterns, letting go of people and situations that no longer align with who you are becoming. This does not mean you stop caring. It simply means you start choosing yourself. You start choosing your peace over chaos. You start choosing your growth over comfort. You start choosing your future over your past. Another important thing to understand is that during this period, you may feel uncertain about what comes next. You may not have all the answers. You may not see the full picture yet, and that can feel uncomfortable. But clarity does not always come all at once. Sometimes it comes step by step. You are shown what you need to see when you need to see it. You are guided in small ways through experiences, through realizations, and through the changes happening around you. And if you trust that process, everything will begin to make sense. Because this turning point is not random. It is preparing you for a new mindset, preparing you for better opportunities, preparing you for a higher level in your life. So if you feel like things are shifting, if you feel like you are seeing people and situations differently, if you feel like you are being pulled in a new direction, do not ignore it. This is your moment of awakening. This is your moment of clarity. This is your turning point. As you continue to move through this powerful phase of your life, something even deeper begins to happen. It's no longer just about seeing others clearly. It's about seeing yourself clearly. Your thoughts, your habits, your choices, and even your past decisions start to come into focus in a way they never did before. This is where true transformation begins, because a turning point is not just about changing your surroundings, it's about changing yourself. You begin to reflect on your past with a new level of awareness. Things you once ignored now make sense. Mistakes you once regretted now begin to teach you something valuable. You start to understand that everything you went through had a purpose. The failures, the disappointments, the times you felt lost or misunderstood, they were not meant to break you. They were meant to prepare you. And once you understand that, your perspective changes. You stop seeing your past as something negative and you begin to see it as a foundation. A foundation that made you stronger, wiser, and more aware of what truly matters. At this stage, you also begin to take more responsibility in your life. Instead of blaming others or circumstances, you start asking yourself powerful questions. What can I do better? What do I need to change? Who do I need to become to reach the next level? These questions shift your mindset from reaction to action. Because growth happens when you take ownership. Another important shift is that you begin to value your time and energy differently. You realize that not everything deserves your attention. Not every conversation is worth engaging in. Not every situation is worth your energy. Not every person deserves access to your time. This awareness makes you more selective. You become more intentional with how you spend your time. You begin to focus on things that help you grow, your goals, your discipline, your mindset, your future. And slowly, you start to build a life that feels more aligned with who you are becoming. But this stage is not without challenges. As you grow, you may feel disconnected from your old environment. People who once understood you may no longer relate to you. Conversations that once felt normal may no longer interest you. You may even feel like you don't fully belong anywhere for a while. And that feeling can be uncomfortable, but it is also temporary because you are in transition. You are moving from one version of your life to another. And during that transition, it is normal to feel out of place. But that does not mean you are lost. It means you are evolving. Another powerful realization during this phase is that your peace becomes more important than anything else. You start protecting your mindset. You avoid negativity. You distance yourself from drama. You let go of things that disturb your inner balance because you understand that your energy directly affects your progress. If your mind is constantly distracted or overwhelmed, it becomes harder to stay focused and disciplined. But when your mind is clear, your path becomes clearer too. You think better, you decide better, you act with more purpose. And that is where real growth happens. At this point, your turning point becomes more visible. You begin to feel more confident in your direction. You may not have everything figured out, but you trust yourself more than before. You trust your instincts. You trust your decisions. You trust the process you are going through. And that trust is powerful, because it allows you to move forward without constantly doubting yourself. It gives you the strength to continue even when things are uncertain. It keeps you focused even when distractions appear. This is where your transformation becomes real. You are no longer the person you used to be. You think differently. You act differently. You see the world differently. And most importantly, you are becoming the person you need to be for your next level. So if you feel like you are changing, if you feel like your mindset is evolving, if you feel like you are leaving behind old habits and stepping into something new, do not resist it. This is not confusion. This is growth. This is not discomfort. This is transformation. This is your turning point taking shape. As you move deeper into this transformation, you begin to notice that your life is no longer driven by confusion. It is guided by clarity. Things that once felt uncertain now start to make sense even if you cannot fully explain how. You feel more aware, more grounded, and more connected to the direction your life is taking. This is the stage where your turning point becomes undeniable. You are no longer the same person who once tolerated everything, trusted everyone blindly, or ignored the signs around you. Now you see clearly. You recognize the difference between genuine and fake. You understand the difference between support and convenience. You feel the difference between peace and hidden stress. And this awareness gives you power. Because once you see things clearly, you begin to make different choices. You stop forcing relationships that no longer feel right. You stop staying in environments that limit your growth. You stop holding on to situations that drain your energy. Instead, you begin to choose alignment. You choose people who respect your growth. You choose environments that challenge you to improve. You choose habits that bring you closer to your goals. These choices may seem small, but they create massive changes over time, because your life is shaped by what you consistently choose. Another important part of this stage is learning to trust the separation that is happening in your life. Sometimes people will naturally drift away. Sometimes situations will come to an end unexpectedly. Sometimes opportunities you once wanted will no longer feel right. At first, this can feel like loss. But in reality, it is alignment. Because not everything that leaves your life is meant to stay. Some things are removed to make space for something better. And when you trust that process, you stop chasing what is leaving. You allow it to go, and in doing so you create room for growth. This is also the stage where your discipline becomes stronger. You begin to take your goals more seriously. You stop waiting for motivation and start building consistency. You understand that your future is not created by what you feel like doing, but by what you do consistently, even when it is difficult. So you show up, you work on yourself, you focus on your goals, you invest your time in things that matter, and slowly you begin to see results. They may not be immediate, but they are real. You feel stronger mentally, you feel more focused, you feel more in control of your life, and that confidence begins to grow. Another powerful realization during this phase is that your peace is no longer negotiable. You no longer tolerate unnecessary drama. You no longer engage in negativity that does not benefit you. You no longer allow people to disturb your mindset without consequence, because you understand how valuable your mental state is. You know that your thoughts shape your actions, and your actions shape your future. So protecting your peace becomes a priority. And that decision changes everything, because when your mind is clear, your direction becomes stronger. You stop overthinking. You stop doubting every decision. You move with confidence, even when the path is not fully visible. At this point, your turning point is no longer just a feeling, it is a reality. You are actively stepping into a new version of your life. You are leaving behind what no longer serves you. You are building habits that support your growth. You are surrounding yourself with better energy. And most importantly, you are becoming someone who is ready for the next level. This transformation is not random. It is intentional. It is a process that is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more focused. So if you feel like your life is changing rapidly, if you feel like you are seeing things more clearly than ever before, if you feel like you are being guided to let go of certain people or situations, do not resist it. This is not loss. This is preparation. This is not confusion. This is clarity. This is your turning point unfolding.